So hi, so today the main topic is the request animation frame. And what is request animation frame, and why do we have to learn it? Why do we have to use it? So request animation frame is that it just putting, so there's a queue on the frame, and it just putting your callback function that after the DOM content loaded, you can run the animation after after making a DOM. The problem is that so the question is, why do we need those kind of thing? I'll give you like a simple example. Why do we need a request animation frame of it? So if you look at here, if I try to click this card, so there's gonna be our curriculum page. So if I click it, you know this, and when I click at these lesson learning progress is actually is being loaded in with latency. And there seems like flickering issue of it, and yes, yeah, those kind of thing. If you look at closely, it stop and it goes here, and the reason why it is like that is because when we create the DOM, when we create this rendering this web page, we first renders this kind of big content first, and those kind of putting 100% complete requires to those kind of CSS and JavaScript. Since we rendering this kind of website concurrently, of course there's gonna be issue because we don't know how to prioritize this kind of animation of it. And also, so this is why we have to think about like request animation frame. So after putting request animation frame, I will show it like this. After putting request animation frame, this is really smooth. So let me try to refresh again. So there's loading. The request animation frame isn't yeah. So compared to this kind of white our previous website, this is actually more smooth than before because this execute this putting 100% complete after the DOM load. So you don't have to think after the DOM complete load, so you execute animation frame, because animation frame is animation in the JavaScript world, in the website world. It's really kind of it's really, how to say it, it's really sensitive. So the reason why it is sensitive is because if you look at the website web application or whatever, the render process has only main thread. In the one main thread, it do everything. Example, it parse HTML and also it also creates the parse. It also parse CSS, and it creates the CSS whatever stuff, and of course it will build a website based on that. And also it will read this JavaScript, your JavaScript chunks. It's read your JavaScript, and it somehow connected and it execute again. So if it's like doing in the one thread, and if your HTML, if your animation is somewhere like between this, it can be really hard to think about how to optimize it without request animation frame. But still, you can optimize it. So, but you have to think about which part has. You have to think about the flickering issue of it, like stutter issue. Like our this part 100% complete, this 0 to 1 becomes complete, requires some kind of JavaScript logic. So if your JavaScript is doing it in your if you're doing some kind of animation using JavaScript, but after that you have to repaint this HTML, CSS, JavaScript. And after you have to also begin the JavaScript also. So that's getting more issue about it. That's why there's gonna be like stutter problem, because you are basically doing animation in one thread. If it's like you're already rendering the animation when you first load, when first load, there's no latency of it. So this is why I use request animation frame to optimize it. But I think that is not a really good option. But I know, but we're trying our best. I'm trying our best to do it. But I think there's more great option. Example, put some kind of JavaScript like if statement when this animation doesn't have to load it in the first load, and I can just do it. I think, but that's kind of request animation frame is not a really kind of good answer, but we can just use it to optimize it rather than like putting nothing and with animation when the first load inside the use effect. So I think this is it. So today topic is we're kind of really kind of small, but I think next week or tomorrow I'm just gonna give really high quality topic. So this is it. Have a nice day. See you next time. Bye bye.